trying to win him over. The more he pulls back, the more you lean in. Maybe leaning in is a good thing in other areas, but not this one. When it comes to your career, lean in all you want, not when it comes to a man. Don't try to show him how amazing you are and prove your worth. This just comes across as desperate and pathetic. Think about it logically. Do you ever like the guys who feel completely unworthy of you and are trying to prove themselves? No, because they're basically saying, I know I'm not good enough for you, but I hope you don't notice or have mercy on me and pick me anyway.
Secure people are reliable and consistent, okay? They are the same on the 20th date as they were on the first date. So if you have to pull away in order to get someone's attention, how is that going to work long-term in a relationship? What that advice is banking on is the fact that this person, this guy, has some form of attachment anxiety, like maybe he's a fearful avoidant, and when you pull away, it's going to ignite his attachment anxiety and he is going to want to come towards you. So then what happens when you come close again? He's going to run away. But if he's a dismissive avoidant and you pull away, you're probably not going to get much. You may get a little bit more of his affection and attention, but again, that's going to be extremely short-lived. He's probably not going to ever come back as close as he was if he's a DA. They just don't ever.
Like a man's losing interest in you. Let me break down why. You meet a guy, everything's all good, everything's great. You guys both start off at 100.
Giving 100%.
You're both giving 100%. All of a sudden, he drops down to 90.
But only a 10% change.
Exactly.
Because maybe you said something that seems slightly off. You've said something, so he goes, okay, well, I'll give in 5% more, back up to 95.
Right? Then, out of nowhere, it drops again. But this time, it drops to 80.
This is more noticeable. You bring it up again, he'll go back up to 85 after you've talked about it the second time.
85%.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, this whole time, you're still giving 100. Drop happens again, to 70. And you're like, whoa, this is a really big change. Like, can we talk about this communication, blah, 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 blah. He's like, hey, that's my bad. I'm sorry. I've been busy, this and that. And he goes back and he brings it back.
75.
As time goes on, he's only doing less and less and less and less. Every time he goes up by a little bit more, you're like, oh, he's improving.
You're happy with that 5% improvement. Haven't realized that he's gone down from when he was giving 100.
He's improved since last week. You haven't noticed that for the past 2-3 months, he's been going down, less and less and less.
Gets to this point, he's not coming around to your house. He's expecting you to always go travel to him. He's not communicating. He's literally doing less than the bare minimum, but you're happy when he does give breadcrumbs of effort.
If he's acting like he doesn't care, he's not calling you, texting you, initiating plans, then it's not because of all these reasons going on in your mind. Like, oh, he's busy with work. He's got friends in town, family issues. No, sweetheart. It's a lot simpler than that, okay? It's because, and I know this is gonna hurt to hear, but it's because he doesn't care. It's because he's chosen to not make you a priority. And I think that's disrespectful. I think that should be a turnoff. So while you're over here making excuses for him and clinging on to this romanticized fantasy in your brain and the best version of him, remember he's not doing any of that. So I personally think you should remind yourself of your worth, your catch, and if he doesn't see that, he's not worth your
Meet a guy. He's very charming and affectionate up front. You grow to really like him and you get attached to him over time. Once you're attached, eventually he kind of pulls the rug from underneath you. The reason for this is because the guy was an avoidant the entire time. When I say avoidant, what I mean by that is he has an avoidant attachment style. So attachment style 101, you have a spectrum here. On one side of the spectrum, you have people that are on the avoidant side. In the middle, you have people that are securely attached. And on the other side, you have people that are anxiously attached. And if you want to get really technical, avoidance can break down into dismissive avoidance or fearful avoidance.
So I got a message from a young lady on TikTok today who said, I've been in the talking phase with this guy. Things were going really, really well. He seemed extremely interested. And then the closer we got, he started to pull away and started to get distant. So I'm wondering, what can I do to keep his attention? I got you, sis. I'm Dr. Sarah Hensley. I'm a specialized social psychologist, and I've been studying the science of attachment and attraction inside romantic relationships for over 15 years, and I see this a lot. And I'm going to give you advice that 99% of other coaches will not give you, and I particularly think that that makes me far more effective and far more truthful. So let's go with the typical answer. The typical coach is going to say, pull back, match his energy, and let him come to you. And there's some issues with that. Secure people are reliable and consistent, okay? They are the same on the 20th date as they were on the first date. So if you have to pull away in order to get someone's attention, how is that going to work long term in a relationship? What that advice is banking on is the fact that this person, this guy, has some form of attachment anxiety, like maybe he's a fearful avoidant, and when you pull away, it's going to ignite his attachment anxiety and he is going to want to come towards you. So then what happens when you come close again? He's going to run away. But if he's a dismissive avoidant and you pull away, you're probably not going to get much. You may get a little bit more of his affection and attention, but again, that's going to be extremely short-lived. He's probably not going to ever come back as close as he was if he's a DA. They just don't ever come back like they did in the beginning and show up the same. You're going to get a little bit. He's going to start breadcrumbing you just enough to really keep you in the game, but not enough to satisfy you and really meet your needs and make a successful relationship happen. So I really think you have two options here, with the second one being the best one. Option number one, you say something. Secure people are unapologetically authentic. Authentic with their feelings, authentic with what they're looking for, and they do not play games. And I would not suggest playing any kind of game like pulling back and waiting this out. I would say, hey, I've noticed you've been a little more distant lately. I'm just checking in to see if you are still interested in pursuing a relationship with me. And see what he says. A dismissive avoidant, their hallmark red flag is pulling away after closeness. That is just the way they are. And so their usual excuse is going to be, oh, I'm sorry, I was just so busy. I didn't really mean anything by it, or I haven't really noticed. I've just had all this other stuff going on. And it's true, they don't see their patterns. They do not notice that they become more distant over time, most of the time. But you could bring this to his attention and see if he shows up again. But I personally think with that strategy, you're probably risking an unhealthy attachment to someone who is showing a red flag of not being capable of true intimacy. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, maybe he's just not interested in you. And that may be true, but guess what? Secure people are authentic. They are unapologetic. A secure person would just say, hey, I've really enjoyed getting to know you, but I don't feel a lot of compatibility here, so I wish you the best on your journey. Secure people don't string people along and breadcrumb them because they're too afraid to say that they're not compatible. Option number two, which is the best option, would be to tell him that you don't feel a lot of compatibility and wish him the best on his journey, and don't go back there. Because if someone is showing a red hot red flag, like pulling away as soon as you get close, that is them sending on a platter to you this projection into the future that they are just really scared of intimacy and not really capable of being reliable and consistent. I mean, the talking phase is when people show up the best. And so if their best foot forward is inconsistency, then you don't have a lot to look forward to, except for anxiety and heartbreak. So I would do that, and then I would pour all of my resources, energy, and attention into my own attachment security, because you are showing a red flag by simply wanting to pursue someone who is showing you clear signs that they are not interested in being reliable in their reciprocation of affection and attention towards you.
I think I love this. I love this. I love it so much. She just said everything. I think she's right. She's so right. Rather than matching his energy, it's better for you to talk to them and ask them I feel like we are not compatible. So what's going on? Maybe we should split, and I wish you all the best. Maybe you should move on. I think that's good. And she said secured people are authentic. They are unapologetic with their opinion. They will not be shy. They are not going to run away and not tell you anything. And they will tell you upfront, this is what I see and this is what I don't accept. I don't want this and I'm not ready for this. They will tell you. But insecure people will run away. They will shy away. They will be so afraid to tell you that they don't want this. They will be so afraid to communicate their feelings to you. So sometimes some men will lose interest in you and pull back because they are insecure. Yeah, they're insecure. They cannot tell you upfront because secured people are so authentic. They'll tell you, I don't want it. We are not compatible. I think we should move on. Like seriously? Like, for example, I had a friend. This is not dating, but this is friendship. And I think some of these things that happen in dating, in relationships, also happen in friendship. I had a friend, a new friend. This friend found me. And this friend came up to me. They saw me online and they found me. They noticed I was living in their city and they called me and said, oh, I saw this picture of you. Is this blah, blah, blah place? I said, yes, because she said, because I saw the train and I saw the letter on the train and it looks familiar. And I knew that this train was in my city. So are you in my city? And I said, yeah. And this person came up to me and met me. But when this person came close to me, I think she discovered so many things about me. Then she ghosted me. She went away. Like, I never saw her. And I didn't notice I was the one communicating, like reaching out and talking, but she never replied to me. Or if she had to reply, she'll reply like 1 week after, you know. And I noticed and I said, okay, this is it. I'm not going to communicate with this person. I'm going to stay away. I stayed away like 6 months. And then one day I just saw a message. This person wrote to me and said, oh, I went to this, I traveled for a while, so I'm back. And I was like, why are you telling me when you have already traveled and you're back? Well, maybe this is a mistake or something. So I called and she said, oh, it's been a long time. I want us to go out with a couple of friends. And I went out with this person, but I noticed some things. This person wasn't really so happy. And they were like, just when it was time to take pictures, they were withdrawing themselves from the crowd and all that. This story is not important.
Like a man's losing interest in you. Let me break down why. You meet a guy, everything's all good, everything's great. You guys both start off at 100.
Giving 100%.
You're both giving 100%. All of a sudden, he drops down to 90.
But only a 10% change.
Exactly.
Because maybe you said something that seems slightly off. You've said something, so he goes, okay, well, I'll give in 5% more, back up to 95.
Right? Then, out of nowhere, it drops again. But this time, it drops to 80.
This is more noticeable. You bring it up again, he'll go back up to 85 after you've talked about it the second time.
85%.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, this whole time, you're still giving 100. Drop happens again, to 70. And you're like, whoa, this is a really big change. Like, can we talk about this communication, blah, 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 blah. He's like, hey, that's my bad. I'm sorry. I've been busy, this and that. And he goes back and he brings it back.
75.
As time goes on, he's only doing less and less and less and less. Every time he goes up by a little bit more, you're like, oh, he's improving.
You're happy with that 5% improvement. Haven't realized that he's gone down from when he was giving 100.
He's improved since last week. You haven't noticed that for the past 2-3 months, he's been going down, less and less and less.
Gets to this point, he's not coming around to your house. He's expecting you to always go travel to him. He's not communicating. He's literally doing less than the bare minimum, but you're happy when he does give breadcrumbs of effort.
When really at the end of the day, he's giving you barely anything at all.
He's giving you 5%. And basically, this is what this guy does to every single girl he
That's
talks
just
to.
not true.
Not coming around to
Oh my God. So they're literally doing an analysis of their relationship. And this makes a lot of sense, you know, because he keeps breadcrumbing you and you don't notice it. You're so appreciative of the 5%. He started off with 100% and he keeps going down and down and down. And each time you talk about it, he adds 5%. So you feel like, okay, he has improved, he's improving. But whereas if you check it, it was at 100% in the beginning. He was giving his all the energy, the love, the support, the care. He was always around. But at some point, it keeps going down and down and down. And before you notice, you're the one chasing him. He's not chasing you anymore. But every time you talk about it, he keeps throwing like some 5% into the ring. And that's breadcrumbing. And that's not good. That's not healthy for the relationship. He loses interest. He has lost interest long time ago. But because you keep talking to him and he keeps like, okay, let me hang around. Let me just hang around here. But he's not there 100%. It's like sitting on the beach and putting your legs in the water but never going for a swim.
to your house, he's expecting you to always go travel to him, he's not communicating, he's literally doing less than the bare minimum, but you're happy when he does give breadcrumbs of effort.
When really at the end of the day, he's giving you barely anything at all.
He's giving you 5%. And basically this is what this guy does to every single girl he
That's
talks
just
to.
not true.
I don't know who needs to hear this right now, but if he's acting like he doesn't care, he's not calling you, texting you, initiating plans, then it's not because of all these reasons going on in your mind. Like, oh, he's busy with work, he's got friends in town, family issues. No, sweetheart, it's a lot simpler than that, okay? It's because, and I know this is gonna hurt to hear, but it's because he doesn't care. It's because he's chosen to not make you a priority. And I think that's disrespectful. I think that should be a turnoff. So while you're over here making excuses for him and clinging on to this romanticized fantasy in your brain and the best version of him, remember he's not doing any of that. So I personally think you should remind yourself of your worth, you're a catch, and if he doesn't see that, he's not worth your time and it is his loss, okay? Follow me for more dating tips and good luck.
Yeah, it's so true. We women are so emotional. You know, when a guy loses interest in us, we will still be making excuses for this guy. We'll say, okay, maybe he's so busy with his work. Oh, he told me he has a new project now. Maybe he's spending more time in that project, or maybe he needs some time off. You know, you're always giving excuses for this guy, you know. But whereas he's not doing the same, he might be with another woman, he might have replaced you, he might have lost interest in you, or he might not just want anything to do with you anymore, you know, but you're there just fantasizing, thinking about this romantic picture of you and him and thinking that, oh, he's busy with his project, blah, 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 blah. Girl, sometimes he's not thinking about you. He has moved on in most cases.
That. So I personally think you should remind yourself of your worth, you're a catch, and if he doesn't see that, he's not worth your time and it is his loss, okay? Follow me for more dating tips and good luck.
So first of all, the fact that I'm using this term discard tells you that this cycle that I'm about to lay out does happen pretty often out there in the dating world. If it didn't, then there wouldn't be a term for it. In the typical avoidant discard process, you meet a guy, he's very charming and affectionate up front. You grow to really like him and you get attached to him over time. Once you're attached, eventually he kind of pulls the rug from underneath you. The reason for this is because the guy was an avoidant the entire time. When I say avoidant, what I mean by that is he has an avoidant attachment style. So attachment style 101, you have a spectrum here. On one side of the spectrum, you have people that are on the avoidant side. In the middle, you have people that are securely attached. And on the other side, you have people that are anxiously attached. And if you want to get really technical, avoidance can break down into dismissive avoidance or fearful avoidance. Bottom line is you're going to encounter men that are not emotionally available, but even worse than that, they're going to mislead you because of their own attachment wounds and insecurities. Your best line of defense against guys that are going to lead you on and waste your time, whether they're avoidants or narcissists or whatever they are, is the rule of sex exclusivity. It's impossible to know a guy's true nature early on. And if you become physical with him quickly, it's going to become really hard to disentangle your personal emotions from the objective facts about it.
He said it. Sexclusivity. No sex. No sex in the beginning. No, 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 no. No. Sexclusivity.
Your time, whether they're avoidants or narcissists or whatever they are, is the rule of sex exclusivity. It's impossible to know a guy's true.
But there's also this argument that some guys can stick around until they have their sex, and once they have it, they will detach. They can stick around for as long as you keep withholding it. When you give it to them, they're gone. They're gone the next minute. I've seen so many videos of girls talking about this online, but is this true, guys? Because let's listen to the guys. We're talking about the guys here, and is exclusivity going to keep you around, or is going to make you lose interest in a girl? That's a question for you.
Nature early on. And if you become physical with him quickly, it's going to become really hard to disentangle your personal emotions from the objective facts about him.
4 things that make a man lose interest and what to do to get it back. Number one, trying to win him over. The more he pulls back, the more you lean in. Maybe leaning in is a good thing in other areas, but not this one. When it comes to your career, lean in all you want. Not when it comes to a man. Don't try to show him how amazing you are and prove your worth. This just comes across as desperate and pathetic. Think about it logically. Do you ever like the guys who feel completely unworthy of you and are trying to prove themselves? No, because they're basically saying, I know I'm not good enough for you, but I hope you don't notice or have mercy on me and pick me anyway. Number two, pushing an agenda on him. This is the worst attitude to have. That is trying to move things in a certain direction because it will make you feel better. Like you need him to make things official, to call you his girlfriend. And until then, you will feel unworthy and you will feel like something is wrong with you. Self-worth does not come from any sort of relationship milestone. Also, men don't operate this way in relationships. This is an area where the way men operate is like a little bit better, less stressful for sure. They don't usually make commitment the goal. They just feel it out, and commitment is a byproduct based on how compatible are we? How do we get along? What's the vibe like? So for you, try to remain present. If this is an issue for you, you're always jumping 20 steps ahead. The only question you should be asking yourself on a date is, do I want to go on another date? Not, is this guy my future husband, and how can I get him to see me as the one, and what can I do to make him fall in love with me? Number three, doing all the work. In theory, this sounds nice, but nothing makes a guy lose interest faster than when he doesn't have to do anything to win you over. If he wants to see you, you'll be there. If he needs to cancel on you last minute, you won't hold it against him. He doesn't even have to text you first. You'll do it. He doesn't need to plan dates. You'll do it. He doesn't even need to think of interesting things to say. You're going to come up with all the interesting things to say in conversation. You don't need to fill every silence. You don't always need to be doing something in the relationship. When this happens, he may enjoy the perks, but he'll lose interest fast, because for a man to truly become invested in you and grow to like you in a real way, he has to invest in you. Number four, complaining. This isn't just a man repeller, it's a people repeller. But I think that women tend to bond by complaining and sharing our struggles. Men aren't like this. If you're just going to him to vent and complain, he's just going to feel like, life is hard enough. I don't need to be in a relationship that's just going to bring me down. So if this is your tendency, try to keep it a little bit more light and a little bit more fun. Okay, so what should you do if you're...
But I feel like, okay, the advice is good, but not all good, First, she talked about not showing not showing how good you are to your partner, because if you're doing too much to show how good you are, it might come across as being desperate and pathetic. No, it depends on who you are having a relationship with, because if you're having a relationship with someone who is secured, a secured person is authentic. They know what they want. They go for what they want, and they are unapologetic when they are going after what they want. So if you are with someone who is secured and authentic, they will not care, because you are the one. They like you for who you are, and you doing that, like showing, trying to prove yourself, trying to show what you know how to do best. I think for them, it's going to be something that is positive, because, that's what they're looking for, because a secured person will always want to be with someone who is also secured, because the fact that you're trying to show what you're good at, also it's some sort of a way of you communicating how secured you are with the thing that you're doing and how passionate you are with this thing. For me, it doesn't give like desperate vibes or pathetic vibes. It also gives, for me, it's a plus. It's some sort of like a positive. It's something that's positive, and it might also be attractive to this person, the secured person. But it only becomes a problem with someone who is insecure, like someone who is fearful, someone who is not really sure of whether they want to be with you. But if it's someone who is really sure, who is secured and knows what they want, they will not see it as you being desperate. No, they wouldn't. And also, she also talked about dating a guy. Okay, I agree with this one, dating, because the guys, when like you're trying to rush things as a woman in a relationship, you're trying to rush things. It goes both ways. It's either positive or negative. So if you're trying to rush things, it depends. There's some people who are in a stage in their lives where they know what they want. You know that by this time I want to be married, I want to have kids. That's your plan for your life. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing for people to have a plan, right? And it's also sometimes it can be overwhelming. But if you meet, like I always say, if you meet a secured person, someone who is authentic and unapologetic, right? You tell them that this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. They are going to tell you upfront what they also want. So if they don't want to commit, if they don't want to be married or they don't want to have kids, they will tell you, I don't want this. This is not what I want. And at that point, you are going to come to like mutually agree on what you want and decide if you want to continue with the relationship or not. Also, if you're someone who wants to be married, right, and you meet someone whom you see that this person doesn't want to be married and this blah 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 blah, you are going to also know that this is not the kind of person that I should be talking marriage with. This is someone that I just want to date, right? And of course, I agree. Like, dating shouldn't be marriage, because so many times we women confuse dating with marriage. And I'll tell you that most men don't want to be committed. They don't want to be married. Men don't like to be in marriage. They don't like being tied just to one woman, like tied down. So if you're dating, just date and see if the man you're dating is the kind of man who likes to be married, who wants to be committed to you. Because most of the time you're going to meet people who don't want to be committed. They just want to play around and see, okay, maybe this is what I want, maybe this is not what I want, but it is good and it's also not good. But you should be conscious, you should be cautious and see if the person you are with is someone who wants to be committed, is someone who wants to be married. But we should always communicate what we want, because communication is the key. We need to communicate our feelings, our wants to the people we are dating. As adults, I don't know. That's my take on this. I don't know, guys. What do you think about it? Do you agree or you disagree? Continue the conversation. Feel free to continue the conversation in the comment section. I don't know if what I'm saying is so 100% right, but guys, I talk with guys a lot. I find time to chat with guys a lot, because we as women can only talk about things from our own perspectives. But when we talk with men about things that are manly things, the men will tell you these things. Like if you talk with men who are really open, they'll say it as it is. They'll tell you. And I have talked with so many men, and most men don't want to be married. They don't like to be married. They don't like to be tied just to one woman. They don't.
You're currently seeing a guy and sense that his interest is starting to fade. First, pull back. You need to recalibrate. And like I said, men need to invest in you, so give him the space to do so. Also, use this pulling back time to take the focus off of him and put it on yourself. He doesn't deserve all of your love and attention until he earns it. If you just enjoy life and engage with him and make nothing of it, your vibe will be enjoyable and positive, and he will be drawn to you. When it feels good to be around you, he'll want to be around you. This is like a core understanding about men in general. When he feels like you're trying to get something out of him, he'll want nothing to do with you. It's really as simple as that. Hope this was helpful. Make sure to follow me for more relationship.
Why he loses interest in you. I want you to imagine you didn't see your mother for 7 years. Yes, 7 whole years. In that 7-year period, you didn't text her, you didn't FaceTime her, you didn't even see a picture of her on Facebook. So for 7 years, you had absolutely zero communication with your mother. You couldn't even hear her voice. And finally, one day you hear a knock at the door. You open the door, and to your shock and surprise, it's your mother whom you haven't seen in 7 years. Imagine the emotion that would come over you in that moment, how tight you would hug your mother, the sobbing and the crying, and just the thankfulness that you finally get to be with your mother again. Now I want you to imagine your mother goes on to live with you in your house for 7 years. Every day for 7 years, you go to work, you come back, your mother's there. You invite a friend over for dinner. Your mother's there. Somehow, every day you see your mother for the next 7 years, the way you embrace her and feel about her is never quite like the day you saw her after 7 years of not seeing her. A man's affection will grow for you the most when he misses you.
I love this analogy. But he failed to talk about your mother. You haven't seen her for 7 years. No communication, no FaceTime, nothing, not even her voice. Then all of a sudden she knocks on the door. There's a knock on the door, you open the door, and that's your mother. You hug her, you cry, you sob, and you're so thankful that you've seen your mother after 7 years. Then your mother is going to start living with you for the next 7 years. Every day you wake up, you see your mother. Every day you go out, your friends come over, your mother is there. Like your mother is in your place 24/7. He didn't talk about the fact that you are going to be so bored having your mother around. You are going to be so bored because that's your mother. That's not your partner. That's not your girlfriend. That's your mother. And you know how bossy and nosy mothers are. Even when you are a grown adult, they live in with you. They are going to be so nosy. They are going to be all up in your business. And it's not going to be nice. You guys will end up be fighting all the time about little things, as maybe the butter is finished and you forgot to buy the butter, or the toilet paper is finished and you forgot to buy the toilet paper, or you use the toilet and it's not clean. She's gonna be all up in your business. He forgot to talk about that, and you're not gonna take it because at some point you tell your mother to leave your house because that's your house and that's not your mother's place. This is so funny. I don't know if this analogy also applies to dating, because this is your mother. It's not your partner. It's not a friend. It's not an acquaintance. This is your mother. And this is somebody who feels like they have some superior authority over you. And he is black, like me. And we all know how black mothers are all up in our business all the time, I don't know. And it's even worse if she's African black mother. Oh my God. You don't want to live with your mother under the same roof. She can visit for as long as she wants, but we cannot live together. I mean, all the policing and bossing when I was still a teenager, and all that. And then I'm an adult. I want to live my life freely. Then my mother has to come and live with me. Nah. I don't think this applies to a relationship between men and women. But we can do a whole video of 100 hours only for mothers coming to live with their adult kids. No way.
You go to work, you come back, your mother's there. You invite a friend over for dinner. Your mother's there. Somehow, every day you see your mother for the next 7 years, the way you embrace her and feel about her is never quite like the day you saw her after 7 years of not seeing her. A man's affection will grow for you the most when he misses you.
If you notice him losing interest in you, this is what you're gonna do. Let's say you've been seeing each other for a little while, or you've been together for a little while, and all of a sudden you notice that he is losing interest in you. He's gotten comfortable, he's not really reaching out anymore, he's not really making an effort, you're also not really having sex anymore. When you notice a man actively losing interest in you and in your relationship or marriage, do not try and fix it. Do not try to win him back. Do not try to rebuild the relationship or the marriage, because remember this, the more you do for him, the less he's gonna do for you. It is not your job to fix or rebuild the relationship. And you cannot force him to all of a sudden have the interest and the spark and the desire to pursue you again. So here's what to do instead. The first sign that you notice of your dynamic shifting, of him pulling back, of him losing interest, you are going to become the most selfish version of yourself. You are going to focus all that mental and emotional energy that you always try to put on him to fix the relationship back into yourself. Reinvent yourself. Set yourself a certain time frame and be very specific about it. You can give yourself a month, maybe even
3 months if you've been together for a while. And in that time frame, you're going to pretend that this man doesn't even fucking exist. You are going to pretend that you are single. Obviously, you're not sleeping with anybody else because you're still in a commitment, but you're mentally detached. And you embody the same version of yourself that you used to be before you met this man. Light-hearted, mentally detached, unbothered, going out with the girls, focusing on your routine, focusing on your body, your health, getting your nails done, getting your hair done, trying new makeup routines, putting together an entire new closet. Only reply to him when he's messaging or texting or calling when it's necessary. You want to limit access to you as much as possible. Now, all of a sudden, because you stopped doing so much, because you stopped overcompensating, trying to fix the relationship, you pulled back, and your man's true intentions with you will be revealed. He will notice the change in your behavior and the confusion will start. Oh my god, am I losing her? Is there another man in her life? Why is she not trying to fix the relationship anymore? Is she getting bored of me? What's happening? That's exactly what you want. You want him sitting on the edge of his seat, not knowing what your next move is going to be. And that is how you have all the power back and also spark his interest again. Remember, ladies, they don't respond to your words, and you're nagging and you're complaining what it should have been, what it could have been, why it's not like it used to be in the beginning. They respond to no contact and you withdrawing and pulling back. So their ego is triggered to win you back over. If after 1 or 3 months of you focusing only purely on yourself and treating this man like he doesn't even exist, and he still doesn't catch on and come your way and try to pursue and chase you again, you dodged a bullet. That man was never emotionally committed to you. So regardless, you win because you now walk out of that relationship with an entire new version of yourself. And if you still don't believe me and tell me, no, this is playing games, this doesn't work, why do they always come back the moment you break up and focus on yourself? It's exactly the same thing, but this time you're getting into that mindset while you're still in the relationship or in the marriage, and watch him come your way.
Reinvent yourself, detach emotionally, work on yourself, work on yourself, work on yourself, work on yourself, and he's gonna come back. If he doesn't come back, girl, walk off, because you are going to win. You're going to be the one who is winning. As she said, you're going to win because you've worked on yourself, and you now have a new version of yourself, which is going to attract the one for you. Did I say it right? Okay. Reinvent yourself. Detach from him emotionally. Behave like as if he never existed. Work on yourself. Work on yourself. Work on yourself. And he is going to be at the edge of his seat. Like, am I losing her? He's going to try and come back. Try to win you back. And that's what you want. But if he doesn't make any effort to win you back, then he is not the one for you, baby. But you know what? You are moving on from this relationship with your head held up high. Why? Because you have taken time to work on yourself, and you are going to attract the right person for you. So never you chase a man who is running away from you. Never. Don't chase a man who is running away from you. That's the rule. It always works. And if the guy doesn't come back, baby, that's the best sign. He is not the man for you. Say bye and move on. Just say bye. Thank you all for watching. Guys, what do you think about this? This was a great video, but if you think otherwise, drop your thoughts in the comment section. Guys, let's continue the conversation in the comment section. Until next time, see you all. Bye-bye. Why men lose interest in you.
Ladies, you ever been dealing with a man and it feel like just out of nowhere he just loses interest in you or pulls back, or the vibe is just completely off or different? It's never unprovoked, and there's always a reason behind it. And I'm about to tell y'all some of them reasons right now, all right? So listen. The first and most obvious reason is simply he just got what he wanted. He got what he wanted. He sees no reason to put effort in anymore. And this, especially like if it wasn't that good to him, like if you ain't even put it on him for real, yeah, like it's definitely quiet. Because if it was good, if it was fire to him, then he going still, you know what I'm saying? He might still entertain the situation for a little while longer, or might continue to go along with it, you know what I'm saying? Still get to know you after. But if it was trash to him, then it's dang near over. Wrap it up. Next, he could simply just find you annoying or unenjoyable to be around. And this especially if y'all not even like together for real, like y'all not even on that level of where y'all been messing with each other for a good amount of time, where, you know what I'm saying, you have a say in certain things or you have a right to be upset by certain things. But early on, if you nagging him, pressing him about certain things, blowing his phone up, and this is very subjective to the type of level y'all are on with each other, because like I said, if it been some months, then like certain stuff for you to get upset at is acceptable, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, like we only messing with each other, we only been having sex with each other, certain stuff you gonna get upset about, and that's fair. But very early on, if you already causing them type of problems, it's a good chance you gonna get cut off, because that's just, you know what I'm saying, that's problematic, that's disturbing the peace. And ladies, I know y'all can agree, because if it was a man doing the same thing, y'all be annoyed by it too. Just being a pisser, you know, like it's always a problem, it's always bad vibes, bad attitude. Yeah, no. Last and probably one of the most common reasons is you could have just got replaced. Especially if y'all not really together, where he's not having that respect of, okay, I'm not going to talk to any other girls, or I'm not going to weigh my options out. It's a good chance he could have just found another girl that he think look better than you, or suit him better, or he like her personality better. Whatever the case may be, he putting her over you. So now his attention is going towards her and away from you. Y'all, these are just a couple of reasons, all right? They not the only reasons. So don't think I'm saying that these the only reasons. Then you arguing with your whatever dude you dealing with because so-and-so said this on TikTok. Could be a number of reasons, but these are not the only ones, all right? That's all I got for y'all today. Peace.
I think in the last part, he's trying to do damage control, but I think two of the points that he mentioned, the first one, he got what he wanted, and the next one, he might have replaced you. Makes a lot of sense, and it makes a lot of sense for women who have been dating before, and I think you all can agree with me, because like if a man loses interest in you, he is gone. He is gone. Like he already had what he wanted, so why should he put any effort, or like why should he be there for? What's the reason why he should be there? He got what he wanted. And the next one, he might have replaced you. And sometimes, like they say, the men say, the men who are dating, who are in the dating phase, don't always have just one woman. So he might try you and see, he's still weighing his options. And if he comes to you and he's trying to vet, and he sees that you don't tick all the boxes, he will go to the other one. And he wouldn't even tell you that he's going to the other one, because you'll be clueless. You don't know anything, but that's what's going on. And guys, am I lying? Tell me in the comment section, because I always talk with the guys and this is what they say. Most of the guys say this, like when they are in the dating phase, they are not dating just one woman. It's so rare. It's rare. They don't date just one woman. They have like so many women to choose from, 1 or 2 or 3, it depends, to choose from. They don't just go to one woman. That's what I talked with most of the guys, and that's what they say. Are they lying? I don't know. I'm a woman. I'm just sharing what I heard.
Has a guy ever lost interest in you seemingly out of nowhere? It could be a guy that you were dating, or maybe a guy that you were just in the talking phase with, and you have no idea what went wrong because he seemed to be totally obsessed with you. I'm gonna give you a life-changing insight about men that explains why this happens. So in the beginning phases, he's really just trying to win you over. So the way that he's behaving, coming on full force, coming on strong, it's not so much a reflection of his feelings for you. It is him trying to get you to develop feelings for him. This is just part of courtship. This isn't him being mean or manipulative. He wants to know that you like him back before he puts himself more on the line. Now, what can happen is in these early phases, he's coming on full force. Maybe he discovers that, this isn't a match. I don't think this is the girl for me. And it seems and it feels to you like he suddenly lost interest. But that's not the case. I mean, it kind of is the case. Here's the thing. Dating is a discovery process. That's it. Dating is discovery. It is not a measure of your worth or your worthiness as a person. It's just two people discovering together whether or not this can be a meaningful partnership. Now, unfortunately, sometimes one person realizes that it's not going to be, and the other person thinks that there is still hope that it can be. So it's very possible that as he got to know you, he realized this just isn't a match. And that's it. That's what happened. That's the shift. That's why it seemed like he was so into me at first, and then it changed. In the beginning, he can't be so into you. He doesn't even know you yet. He doesn't know what you're about. In the beginning, it's just potential. It's just the potential of what could be. And discovering, could this potential be realized and turned into something?
Because the first guy talked about how if he loses interest in you, it might be that he's gotten what he wanted. And also, it might also be that, it might also be that he has replaced you. So that's 2 points. But this point makes some sense, that dating is a discovery phase. Two people trying to discover each other. They want to know if this is going to be compatible, that they're going to be together. And when one person realizes that the other person is not a perfect match, they withdraw. Is she right? Or is she wrong? What's your thoughts on this?
Why men lose interest. So I was texting with this woman the other day. She found me on TikTok. And by the way, I answer pretty much every comment or direct message that comes in. And she's a very smart, well-presented woman on her profile. And she spoke very well. And she said to me, look, she said, I keep going out on dates and then guys get bored and they move on. And so I looked at her and I listened to the way that she was speaking, and she was very clear and very easy to text back and forth with. And I said, okay. I said, they get bored. She said, yeah, we go on a couple of dates and then they just kind of lose interest and they stop asking me out. I said, are you successful? Do you have a really busy schedule? She said, yes, but. And then she went into this long explanation about how that didn't really hold her back. And I said, they're not bored. They're intimidated because you're leading with masculine energy, right? So when you are busy at work or at home and you're getting things done, or you're figuring out how to move your business forward, or your career, or make more money, or whatever you're doing, you're using masculine energy. And it's a great way to get things done. And so our logical brain, right? Our prefrontal cortex is the way we logic our way to a solution. And so we think, we need to use that part of our brain to figure out dating and relationships and romance and love and everything else. But that's not our emotional part of the brain. And if you, no matter how beautiful or sexy you are, it doesn't matter, because a man is not going to respond if you come at him with a whole lot of that logical masculine energy. It's just going to turn him off. The kind of man that you want wants to inhabit the masculine most of the time. Doesn't mean that he's only masculine energy, but with you, he wants to lead. He wants to be the leader of the relationship. So now we live in an age where women are out performing men, they're out earning men, they're, more educated than men. A lot of the women I talk to are attracting fixer-upper men because they have achieved so much. But you, like this woman that I talked to, have to figure out how to engage with the men that you like with feminine energy. That's the challenge. It's communication. It's the way you communicate with them. I hope that helps. If you want to talk more about feminine energy and masculine energy, if you feel like you are struggling with this, if you don't know why men don't ask you for a second date, or they just lose interest, if men have told you they found you intimidating, let me know.
So is he right? Is it all about the masculine energy, women portraying the masculine energy? Is it because of that women have to switch into their feminine energy in order to attract men? That so many women with high level performance, or let's say women who portray more of the masculine energy are going to repel men. So men are going to lose interest in this kind of women. Guys, tell us more in the comment section, because is this for real? We live in a time when, life has forced women to become more hustling. They go out, they outperform men, they out earn men, they earn money, they're out there trying to they're facing life equally as men are, because we live in an economy where it's very uncertain. Living standards are just going higher, inflation going higher, prices, food prices, rents, fuel, gas, everything is just blowing out of proportion. And you don't expect women to just sit there and be basking in their feminine energy in poverty. When women also, they have the skills, they have access to education, to resources, women can do business, they can do all that. And why would it be a problem? Why would it be something that would repel men? Because men feel that that's something that men should be doing. Women shouldn't be doing that. I don't understand, but what do you think about this? Is he right? Or am I wrong? I don't know. Guys, what do you think about this? Oh my God.